Hello, everybody. It's Kate Richburg and Alfred T. Pickles. He wandered in at the start of this broadcast, so I thought I would heft him up so you all could see this giant cat who's just here. He's just here saying hello to everyone. Oh, I'm getting winded. All right, Alfred. A lot of you remember, yeah, Gita, I did this just for you. Look, he takes up the whole screen. He's not fussed at all, right? But I know that you haven't seen him for a while. So, all right, Alfred T. Pickles. Uh-oh, that tail's starting to go. So I'm gonna put him down. He's so plat. Look at him. He's gonna reach out your paws. Say a big paw hello, everybody. All right. Oh, let me put this giant cat down. Okay. Whew. That was a lot of cat, I'll tell you. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, welcome to Free Tip Friday. All right. I'm Kate Richburg, and it is time, you guys, to get this show on the road. Yeah, he is a large cat, I'll tell you. Whew, he's a good boy, I'll tell you. He's a handful. But he's all the kitty cats have settled all in. They're doing all so well. So everyone's happy. We can't complain. Um yeah, that's the exercise I need. Yeah, it is true. That deadlift of that giant cat, it is true. Well, today, you guys, for Free Tip Friday, we're going to have some fun today. As you can see, I have been wearing these earrings for a while. And today is the day. I'm going to show them to you a little closer as well. But today is the day that we're going to create with these stones. They're all going to go live. If you got our newsletter this morning, you did see that all of the products that I am using will go live at noon Pacific time. And so right now it is 10:36 Pacific time. So there's a little bit of time that you've got there. And I will end our broadcast a little bit early. Okay. And so you guys can do a little bit of shopping and stuff. And I'll talk to you about what it is that I'm using. You'll see how I'm gonna show you some tricks with wire wrapping, because I know that you love the wire wrapping portion of this. And so you'll see all of that over on the website at beadshop.com. So, but before I get any further, you guys, let me just put a couple of things up on the screen here. So, you can give us a follow at beadshop.com on our Instagram, at the Bead Table on our Facebook group. We'd love to have you over there. Lots of fun stuff always happens. People are posting such really beautiful things. So it's great to have all of you all over there. And of course, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, either live or on the replay, we really, really appreciate that. So you can give us a like and a subscribe, and you'll be able to never miss one of our broadcasts. And I also, yesterday I did a thing where I started our TikTok account, which seems kind of crazy, but there is a TikTok up there. So I'm going to add maybe a few quick tutorials and stuff. We'll see. We'll see how that TikTok goes. And of course, you can find all of the project and the products from today's broadcast right on our website. And make sure you get that newsletter subscription going for the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. So let's see. Whoops, I didn't take this off the thing before there we go. Here I am. So let's go ahead and add my uh, demo camera into this stream. Let me get this all taken care of and let me get that going. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about these earrings today and what we've got going on. Okay. So as I said earlier, these supplies are going to go live at noon. And let me just show you here real quick. I put up a little banner. A few, I don't know, it was a while back, a month or maybe even a little bit earlier ago. I found these really cool gemstone points, and I'm gonna measure those out for you so you guys will be able to see the length and stuff of those guys. But I really, really liked them a lot, and I thought, wouldn't it be perfect to do kind of an earring day with all of this stuff? So I gathered everything together, and today is the launch day. Today is the day that they're coming at you. I am looking for my calipers. I misplaced them somewhere. So you know what? I'm just going to use my little ruler. They're not, I didn't put them back. So if I didn't put them back, then that's my own fault for not being able to find them. But you can see some of there's gemstone mixes. They're right here. There we go. There's a green mix, a blue mix, a gray, and that kind of peachy melon color, which I really like. Those are coming, and I'll show you the sizes of those. And then all of the points are coming as well. And the points are coming in a bunch of different, what we like to call flavors over on Bead Shop, including like onyx, really fun mix of stones. This prehnite right here, this green jasper. We've got this really nice, that red obsidian jasper, this tiger's eye, and we've got some this olive jade kind of color here. So there's a whole bunch. There's also onyx, some other ones. And then I also have for you some ovals. And the ovals all of this is in super limited supply. What a surprise. Oh, I also have some of these. I got a couple here that I want to show you. These little boulder opal points, right? And so these, what I did was I broke up the strands because again, they were super limited. I hadn't seen these points in a while, and the quality of these are pretty darn nice. So what I did was I cut open the strands and I matched everything. So everything is paired in pairs. So we're selling them by the pair, and you're going to get that pair already matched in a bag. Okay, so they've already been matched up for you. Okay, so and they differ a little bit in size. They vary in size, in thickness. There it is. There's my caliper. In width and in length. So let me show you just to start off here what I've got. I'll look at this one, maybe this one here, this olive serpentine, kind of pretty one there. This one is about 27.5 inches. And then the width of this is about 6. And I did my best when I packaged these up, you guys, to make them match as closely as I could. And you know, I'm pretty particular, so I think you'll like the choices I've made for you. 26.5 millimeters. Sorry, there's a little bit of a glare on there. And then the width on this one's a little bit skinnier, a little bit more than 4.5, 4.6 millimeters right there. And then these faceted ovals. We've got the faceted ovals in labradorite, in lapis, and in amethyst. Also limited, really pretty. I thought that these would be fun to, whoops, there we go, These would be fun to make earrings out of, or you can make pendants out of these as well. Sorry, that glare is bugging me. So these particular ones are a little over 16.5 millimeter by a little over 7.5. And then this amethyst one, it's a little longer. That one's 20.5 millimeters. Okay, it's a little bit bigger, but they're all matched. They'll arrive to you. They'll arrive to you matched. Okay, so I also did little mixes. They're in a bag, and you have plenty of them. They come in 3 different colors. I've already used some of the blue. Let me take them out and put them in little dishes. That'll look nicer. Let me put them in some little white dishes that I've got here. Let's pour them out, shall we? There we go. Let's get this going. This is that peach color. These are all between 2 and 3 millimeters, and they'll all fit on a 24 gauge wire. 24 gauge wire is the wire of the day for all of these. Okay, so I've got this peach, I've got this blue. That one was a partial bag because I used some of them. Let me pour out a little bit more of the blue there. I've got the green, this green mix. I really like these green ones. And there's more in the mix. This is just a little bit of my leftovers from when I was using them. But you have plenty of these guys. Whoops, a couple escaped. So here's our color choices with those tiny beads. And I've got a few that are sitting out here as well. And I might just take a few of all of these colors maybe and just put them down so I can kind of mix and match what's going on. Okay, so that's that. I really like these little beads. They're small though, but the hole size on them is a good size. So this one, 2.5 millimeters by about, let's see if I can get my caliper in there. Come on. That's by 3.5 millimeters there. And then there's some tiny tinies. That one is 2.2 millimeter. And then hole to hole, it's small. It's a little over 1.5. It's 1.5 millimeters. So it's a tiny little bead. Okay, but the hole sizes are great. So I've got some 24 gauge head pins here. You can use any color of metal that you like. I use kind of the vintage bronze and the antique brass. And I chose to use the vintage leverback earrings that look like this. I like these a lot, and I like how they stay in your ears. And then I use the vintage bronze wire in 24 gauge to wire wrap it here. And then I just use the regular silver plate to do this one. Okay, and I'm going to go over how we do this. Because you can do this, you know, if you are watching this later and you don't get to grab some of these kind of limited editions that I've got here, this technique will apply to your earring designs or even pendant designs across the board. Okay, so however you want to do this. So let me get some of our vintage bronze. That's what I'm going to use today, I guess. And if you need to straighten it, I thought I had my wire straightener here, but I'll just do it with my hands. But if you need to use your nylon jaw plier to straighten this out, you can. And I'm going to start by wire wrapping a point. And maybe I'll just grab one of these beauties. Let me just double check. I want to make sure. Bear with me here just a second. It's loading. I just want to make sure. Come on. Everything's moving so slowly. Let me see. Tagged. There we go. This one is mahogany obsidian. Thanks for bearing with me. I could not couldn't think of the name all of a sudden. I love mahogany obsidian. I love it. And you can see that some of them, they may have a little bit of an inclusion there, but it's certainly not going to be noticed when I wire wrap these beauties. So I'm going to take a piece of 24 gauge wire and I'm going to measure out maybe 5 inches. It's kind of a long, but since this is the base metal wire, it's not super dear. Okay, so I'm going to put all my little head pins over there. I'm going to get this mahogany obsidian and I'm just going to put let me get a little tighter down here so you guys can see it. Now we're going to wrap this like I would do a briolette if I wanted a wire over the top. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to push that wire up against the top of that point. Then I'm going to get I've got my trusty plier trifecta here, my bent chain, my regular chain, and my round nose. What I'm going to do with my regular chain nose, I'm going to identify where the middle is right here, and I'm just going to bring my wire down and I'm going to bend it. So see how it comes about to the center of that point. Then I simply bring the short wire down and around it. And then all I really have to do is I can hold this wire stationary and twirl this point even like this, or I can just get my pliers and wrap it around. Whatever works for you, right? But I want to do about 3 little wraps right there. Okay. Now see that little point that's sticking up there? I'm going to get my wire cutters and I'm going to wedge it right up against that little point of wire. Put my thumb there so it doesn't fly into my head. And then I'm going to get my bent chain nose and I'm going to use those bent chain nose to push that little tip right in. Okay, there you have it. Now we're going to put this aside. Now this is the beginning of so many things, right? I can string more beads. I can, I could string like a larger bead if I had one of those. Let me see if I have any of those 8mm or anything left over from my Wednesday broadcast I did. You can put a fancier bead on top, wire wrap it, and call it a day, right? That's it. But I'm going to do a couple of things for you. First, I'm going to show you how I just simply wire wrap a few little beads to go on these, okay? And I'm going to use this peach. It feels like I want to use that peach color with this. I don't know why. Maybe I'll add a little bit of the gray in there, or I could just add, any of the colors I liked. But so what I did with these earrings, I wire wrapped 8 drops per stack here. So it's a total of 16. Okay, so let me just go ahead and you've seen me do this before, but I'm going to do it again for you. Here's my 24 gauge wire. These are 1.5 inches long. These are actually a little bit short. I cut them short for some reason. But these are the ones that we carry are about 1.5 inches in length. And so I'm just going to I'm going to do this a little bit at Kate speed. So there's 1, and I'm just going to lay them out, okay, so I can see what they look like. The points are sold in pairs. So when you grab your points, they have already, sorry about that, my finger was in the way. They have already been matched, and they've been matched by me. I did those. So I hope that you'll like the matches that I've made you. They are limited. I'm sorry I don't have an unlimited amount, but I'm going to keep my eye out for these because I really like them. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble putting my camera where I want it to be. So just bear with me here just a second, everybody. Sorry about that. There we go. Oh, come on. There, that's better. Thanks for bearing with me on that. I need a camera person. There we are. Okay, so let me speed up production here. So however you want, you can put like one, just a single on there. You can put two, you can put three, whatever works. Okay, I'm going to put this one here, and I'm kind of moving my beads going from small to large, large to small. So here's another one, and you can just kind of lay them out and see how they play together. Honestly, though, the when they cluster, when you have them clustered all together, you're not going to really see, too much of the individual beads. They're just going to kind of cluster all together to create their own little look. Let's see, 5. This one is 6. I'm going to do, I don't know why I'm just loving this gray with just a little pop of that peach color. 2, 4, 6. Here's number 7. I'll make this a stack of 3 small ones. And then I kind of like the way that looks. So I'm going to make a stack of 3 more. I like that color. So I'm going to do that. 2. And maybe I'll just do these in 2s. There we go. So there's my 8 head pins. Okay, like that. All right. So now we're gonna speed wrap these. And the way that I do this when I'm in production, like for this one, I'll lay everything out. And of course I would do this doubled, right? I wouldn't do just one earring and then the second earring. I'd put everything like I'd have this one for this 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then this one's ready, and then I'd mirror it over here, right? Okay, I'd have the same thing over here. Let me raise this just a little, and let's get our pliers on deck. So the first thing that I want to do, you guys, when I wire wrap, I'm going to come across and I'm going to grab right at the top of the bead hole with just the tip of the plier, because I don't want super long wire wraps for this one. So see how I've just given that nice right angle bend. It's actually just a little anemic, so let me get a good right angle bend. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that with all 8. And see how when I make that bend, I just get my thumb, I get my tool right on top of the bead hole and make that bend. I also am eyeballing so that I bend the wire over the top of the tool, not with the tool, but I'm bending it at the same place. So that acts like a little jig, right? And Gita just linked it over on the Facebook page, on whoever's watching over on Facebook. If you go to beadshop.com and you go to our learning, there are skill builders, and wire wrapping is one of them. So you can kind of look at that step by step. So now I'm going to take this round nose plier, okay, right here, and I'm going to come in. I want the loop that I'm making, you guys, to be pretty small. These are our German series. We have kind of like the economy, the comfort series, but this nice German plier, old school, red handle, hands down favorite, because see how tiny those tips are and how round they are. So I'm going to come in with my round nose and see I'm not very high up on the head of the tool. And see how small I'm at. Now I come up and over. I twist the plier up to expose that little neck that I have left previously. I pull it around and I center. Okay. Sorry, it was a lot of screen. Okay. So here it is, just like this. I think we're getting more of the bent chain nose in, and Janice, Just an FYI, I think we've got them. Sometimes the supply chain on these pliers, especially now with the pandemic, is a little tough, but put yourself on the waiting list and we will make sure you'll get an email as soon as those come back into stock. And that's really true of everything on Bead Shop. You know, the pandemic and with shipping issues and stuff have rendered a lot of things more difficult to get than they were, you know, a few years ago. So see how fast I'm doing this? I'm bringing this over and see how now I've got all this little pile of these guys. Kim is asking, we had some beautiful mahogany obsidian a while back. I love mahogany obsidian and I hope to get some more of those rounds in. Again, semi-precious, what has happened with semi-precious beads are that they're just, I say it all the time, they're harder to come by, and prices on all of that stuff is just going up and up. So I am always on the constant lookout. I love mahogany obsidian. I love that black and that kind of brick color. So if I find it, Kim, I promise to get it back up there. So see, here we go. There's that loop. Okay. So now this is ready to go. So I've got these here. Okay. So now the way that I connect these is, can you see this right here? How my little drops are hanging from jump rings. And that's the secret to this, making this earring nice and flowy. Okay, like this. Are these tiny 3mm jump rings. Okay, so what I do next is I'm going to wire wrap all these closed because I don't have to wire wrap them to anything. Like if I were wire wrapping directly to a piece of chain or whatever, I'd have to put them in. But the beauty of it is I just have to grab them and wire wrap them. Now you can make a choice here. This wire is long enough. These are these head pins are long enough so that when you make your first wire wrap, let me go around. You can also wire wrap with your fingers, but I'm going to hold that loop straight in my chain nose and wire wrap with my bent chain nose. Okay, once I do that, I can come back up. I'm just going to do this one with my fingers. I can come back up and make like an intentional fat wire wrap. So instead of just one layer of wire, I've got two. I'm going to cut this little piece there away and I'm going to tuck it in. There we go. See that? So now, see how it has a little kind of a fatter top to it? Okay. So you can do it that way, or you can just do a single wrap. And again, you can do this with your pliers, though I feel like these 24 gauge wires want to wrap by hand for me today. So see, there's that single. Just like that. Then I can come back in and wire wrap it over the top and then clip away that extra. So it gives it just a little extra style. Okay. Like so. Okay. So let me just do these real quick. Then what we're going to do is, and I'm going to do the rest of these just kind of single, just in so that I'm a little faster here. And you can see there's just a variety of those little beads that are on there. See that bent chain, how I can really grab it right there with the tip of my pliers. That's going to hold this loop stationary. If you guys, I was grabbing this with my round nose, it would not grip tightly because the round nose pliers are meant to loop and not grip. Okay, so don't grab this loop with these round nose. They're not gonna, you're gonna end up like with a death grip on these, right? And you're gonna mark your wire. So use your plain, just the chain nose right there. See that? How nice and tight I can get in there. Now I can go fast with my hands and I can just wrap that one wire just below the other. Okay, so let's get this going. This one and this one, almost there. If you kind of challenge yourself, sometimes when I'm wire wrapping a bunch of little drops, it can get a little monotonous. But if you kind of challenge yourself to do these in steps and to kind of batch these, all of these tasks together, right? It's a little faster, and for me, it's a little more interesting. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to clip all of these off. They're so small, they're hard to grab onto. But see how I've got it here secured between my thumb and my index finger, and I'm clipping, but holding that wire so that wire doesn't fly into my head or into the camera, or if I were working with other people across the room. Whoops. Get that right in there. There it goes. Whoops, sorry. Sometimes it's hard to navigate around the camera to actually see my workspace, so thanks for hanging in there. There we go. This tip, get that little tip, and you want to make sure not to clip your loop. Ask me how I know about that, right? So be very careful with those tips that you don't clip your loop open. So there are those. Then I'm going to come in with that bent chain, and I'm going to just see how I hold the bent chain nose so it's the curve is down. And then I locate where that little tip of the wire is pointing right at me, and I give it a hug. That's the fastest way I know to get that little tip of wire down. There we go. And sometimes you have to, like this one I left a little too much, so sometimes you have to round it up, move that plier around a little bit to get it in there. But you want to make sure and get that little tip of wire in so that it doesn't catch on anything. There it is. I see it. And it's in. Okay, so I've got three, and 2. Those are going to be my little piles. Okay, and I've also got my small jump rings there as well. Okay, so now I'm going to put these on the jump rings. So I go back. Sometimes these 3mm jump rings come together in little bundles. That's just how they are because they're so small. I get my pliers. Can you see how I just have to open that ring? And then I can slide that down. You could use the ball head pins. I'm just using the plain ones. Or with the 24 gauge, the ball might fit on some of these. The ball head pins are a little bit of a heavier gauge. You could put just a little tiny seed bead at the bottom here too. A size 11 would look nice. See how I hold it there with one plier and I just open it up with the other. Okay. Someone commented about the weight of these earrings. They're not, surprisingly, they're not that heavy. These gem points are the weightiest part of this. These little drops like this hardly weigh anything, honestly. But you could also just make some pendants like this if earrings, weren't your jam. Or you can uh, use a bead that's a little bit smaller for this and still cluster over the top. Lori has a good tip here for closing this up. Sometimes I use the round, smooth part of a crimping plier to tuck in the end of the wrap. It keeps the round shape of the wrap great. That is an excellent suggestion, Lori. I do that sometimes too. But I wield these pliers. I've been wire wrapping for so long that it's just kind of second nature. But you could come in. Let me show you what Lori means by that. Here's that Xuron plier, and I used it on Wednesday to do those crimps on that chain. And what she's meaning is, see that little oval spot? I can come in and I can just walk that right around, and it keeps everything nice and round. It's a great tip. I always forget about that one. So thank you so much for sharing that. So now I'm going to pick up my jump ring. These 3 millimeters feel tiny, and they're a finer gauge, but they'll stay closed. They'll do well with these because these drops are pretty light. So I'm going to put 3 of the drops on here, and it doesn't matter the order. Okay, but these 3 just like so. Then I'm just going to come in, and just like we did on Wednesday, I'm going to close that ring as I move back and forth, and I'm just going to double check it to make sure it's closed. Let me do this one, and I'll do that drop. And again, it does not matter about the order, really. Okay, so there it is. It's a little hard to see because they're so small. But I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab the tip of that jump ring. Helps to have good lighting. And I'm going to bring that in nice and tight. See that there? And now that one's closed and ready to go. And now I'll do this last one with just 2 at the very top. I guess you could do 9. I don't know why I did 8, but I did. So this is the one I'm going to put in at the top. You can do more than that too. You can cluster until the cows come home, right? Doesn't matter. So there are those 3. Okay. So now I want kind of the center beads to fade into the background, I guess. So I'm going to put on 1 bead here, slide this sucker on. Then I'm going to take one of my clusters that I just made, and I'm going to slide it through the jump ring. Okay, just like that. Then I'm going to get another one of these, my other cluster of 3. They could be clusters of 4 too, doesn't matter. Clusters of 4 also, I guess. That's what I should say. This goes on. That goes on. Okay, so I've got these guys here. Okay, like so. Now I need a stopper bead at the top. See how here I've got my little bead at the very top. You can see that lineup of all those beads there. And when I wire wrap these closed, I guess I'll use a tiny one. Let's see how that looks. When I go ahead now and make this final wire wrap, I want to make sure that this wire, this base wire is nice and straight. I'm going to come in, I'm going to bend that wire right over the top of this tool like I did before. Okay. I'm going to bring my round nose plier up and over the top to make the loop kind of small. I'm going to pull it out of your view for just 1 second. I've got to get it back into my view. There we go. Now, when I wrap this, everybody, this is the kicker with these. I want enough room so that these beads will still move around. Okay, so I want to wire wrap it closed, but I want to stop maybe one wrap shy of where I might normally, and see how these beads can still move just a little. That's the tip. Now I'm going to wrap, I think I'm going to wrap up just to have a little bit of a tighter, not a tighter, but a wider, a bigger wrap up at the top, and see how these all move around. That's what you want on this, because if you wrap these too tightly, they're going to stick out like little sticks, like a little tree branch. And while you might want that for some things, for these earrings, we want a lot of flow. Okay, so there's that. Now we're just going to put on, let's make sure this is nice and straight. We're just going to put on our ear wire, which is right over here. You can use any type of ear wire you like, but I'll tell you, I really like these vintage lever back style that we carry. Again, you know me, if it's kind of has a vintage feel to it, I like it. The one drawback about these, and it's not really a drawback, but I want to show you here on this lever back. Can you see how there's an opening in that loop right there? So that's where we've got to open it. So I'm going to grab, and someone noted, I'm sorry, I didn't remember, it went by as I was wrapping, but you noted when I open a loop, I get that chain nose plier as close to the opening of the loop as I can, so it really supports the loop as I open it. Like I don't grab it way down here and try and open it, right? Because my pliers won't grip. So if I really lay it on like so, carefully open it. These loops don't want to be opened and closed and opened and closed, but 1 or 2 times on these is going to be okay. So see there, now I come in, I grab it again right close to the opening, and I close everything up, give it a final little hug. And can you see how these little drops just kind of drip down over that obsidian point? And the color, I love this color story. You know, I don't know if you're, I like to look at fashion trends. I'm not super fashion trendy kind of a gal, but I do like the pages of Vogue. I love to watch colors for the season. And if you look at some of the collections that walk down the runway this last fashion week, the color mashups were so cool, right? Gucci had some cool stuff. I mean, some of it was, I'll admit, a little eye-searing, but it's kind of fun to take a look at those kind of wacky color combos and then pull out of it what really speaks to you. So here's that with that obsidian. Here it is with the green jasper. And the cool thing about these points, you guys, is that they're all kind of a mix and match. Like these colors can go you can do anything with any of the colors, right? You can, I like this tiger eye as well. This tiger eye I think would look great with this smattering of blue. Wouldn't that be pretty over that? So just decide really what works for you. Okay. We have a couple minutes left and I want to show you, we would do the same thing with the here, the faceted ovals. I would just put them in a head pin like this. And then you could add a tiny bead on the top like that. And then you could slide your little wire wrap pieces over. So you don't do any wire wrapping previously. I would just put a bead down and then put my little clusters of beads and then wire wrap the top up there. Okay, if that makes sense. All right, so that's how we would do that. The other thing I want to show you, if you don't have head pins or you want to do this a little bit differently, I'm going to cut another piece of 24 gauge. And you could make little kind of clusters with these a different way. So I'm going to put on maybe 3 stones like this. Okay. I'm going to bring these up. Let me clear the background here. I'm going to pinch these and bring these up so they make like a little berry cluster like that. That's just what I'm calling it. And then I'm going to bring these around. I'm going to tighten that up. So see, there's a little bit of wire showing down there, but I'm not overly fussed. Okay. And then I'm just going to bring this short wire around and I'm going to wire wrap it. Actually, no. Sorry, I lied. I'm going to wrap it like I would a briolette. Sorry. So I get those 2 wires together. I bend my 1 wire over the top, and we have the tutorial for the briolette wrap. But see how I've got both of those wires over the top there, right? And then I come up and over, down and under, and then I wrap. So see how, and I can wrap until I reach the top of those stones. Okay. Then I'm going to come in. I'm going to clip that down. I'll make 1 more. Right? Let me push that in. So it's this like precious little bundle. I mean, come on, that could not be cuter, right? Let me make 1 more. I've got this kind of random scrap piece of wire. Will this be enough? Probably not. Let's not tempt fate. Let me just get a piece of wire here. Cut it. Let me slide some of these over. Let me do one with this one. Come on. That green one, maybe that blue one, maybe that gray one. That's not a gray one. That's a gray one. Okay. Whoops. They're falling off the other side of the wire. Come on. Bring it up. And as I bend it, I'll bend my wires here like this. And that kind of brings the whole little cluster together. Then bend the long wire down, up and over. And these can kind of have what I like to call a little more of an organic look to them. right? Because that wire wrapping just kind of evens everything out. But see how this has a little bit more wire showing on the right side than the left. But it doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. I'm going to clip, push that in, pull that down, and clip away that extra. So I've got two. So the way that this would sit if I were putting it on my cluster, let's say it's going to go over that oval, I would put however many I wanted to on my little cluster here, on my little head pin. I'd get my bead on. And this probably needs like one more, but see how those just fall right over the top there. So maybe I do a couple that had these clusters and maybe just a couple that were just short little guys like that, right? That's probably how I'd do that. And then you'd wire wrap the rest and it would be done. It would be an earring. Okay. So that is it, you guys. This is, you've seen the points. There's a whole variety of them. If you go over to Bead Shop, it's 11:24 Pacific time is what I'm trying to say. And over at beadshop.com, if you'll see this banner right on the homepage, and it says Flash Sale Friday. And see how in that box it says available at noon? Well, right at noon, if you're on the website, make sure and click refresh because the new products won't load if you don't refresh the website. And then you can shop. If you want to do some shopping beforehand, I recommend that you go now after I sign off here. Put the other things you like in the cart, like the ear wires, things like that we have. Then, when noon hits, refresh that screen, put the semi-precious points and stuff that you like, the little mixes and things, because they are limited, kids. So they are going to go pretty quickly, I think. But I will have more coming, so don't despair. If you miss it, it's all right. You'll be able to see some more down the road, okay, some more fun things. But I thought this was really kind of a fun array of earrings, and I want to make these in every single flavor. You have plenty of the small beads. The bag has a ton of beads in it, so you'll be able to make several pairs with just that single bag. But look at how delicious those look. I kind of love them. I really, really do. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me get myself up here. Here I am. Here I am. Let me get me up there so I can see you. Let me put these back in. They're nice and light. They're not super heavy. So I think most of you will find these to be pretty wearable, like so. Look good. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. And those of you who are watching me from the Great Bead Extravaganza, and I wanted to say a big thank you from our takeover on Wednesday. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to be showing some sneak peeks of my Great Bead Extravaganza project that's coming out. I'm trying to see. I thought I had it right here in front of me, but stay tuned to our social because I've got 3 great kits coming your way, and the Great Bead Extravaganza starts with a preview night on Friday, April 8th, and then we've got the 9th and the 10th for our big event. So stay tuned for that. Do make sure, you guys, that you jump over to beadshop.com on all of our social. We've got our Instagram. We'd love it if you'd follow us over there. And if you do make anything with Bead Shop products, give us a shout out and we'll be glad to share it on our social media. Join us over at the Bead Table, our group of wonderful bead shop friends and beaders over there. We're making some beautiful stuff. And if you're watching us on YouTube, either now or on the replay, thank you so much. Hit that like and subscribe button. Turn those notifications on so you'll never miss a broadcast. And as always, you can jump over to beadshop.com for all of the information on today's project and products. You can sign up for the newsletter for the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. And don't forget, when you see this screen on the homepage available at noon, it's going to be available in about a half hour. You want to go ahead and hit refresh so that that page will load. So thanks again, everybody. Enjoy. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Stay creative. I will see you next Wednesday with another fantastic project that I hope you all would love. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.